Judicial Council, and actually if you are interested in to know which European countries have some sort of independent body that is responsible for managing the judiciary, you will have a specific European network of councils for the judiciary. There is a web page with all the information, so European network of councils for the judiciary, and it gathers all national institutions of member states of the European Union, which are independent, this is the conditions, independent of the executive and the legislature. So you will have the full list of the European countries that have these criteria, that fulfill these criteria. So as for the Portuguese and also Spanish system, we do have this body. And the Portuguese experience was to have a balance between two constitutional principles. One would be the democratic principle according to which the judiciary and the courts are govern the law and the justice in the name of the people. So this is important to understand that this idea of managing justice in the name of the people is very dear both to the Portuguese and to the Spanish side. So the composition of the judicial councils will have to pass through the parliaments because it's the parliament that represents people. In the Spanish example, they have decided that all members, all the 20 members of the Judicial Council should be elected by the parliament, by the chambers, because of this principle, of this democratic principle enshrined also in the judiciary. However, in practice, this had led to some difficulties because the parliament, all political parties have to agree on a list of 20 that has to be half judges, half lawyers, to be included in the Judicial Council, in the High Judicial Council. Problem. We faced during the history several times where there were blockage. The parliament did not achieve a consensus on which judges could be part of this high judicial body. So since 2018, Spain was facing a huge crisis because the High Judicial Council was not being replaced and the mandates had already finished. So the members of the High Judicial Council were maintained. They had these powers to manage, but there was a huge blockage on actual managing the judiciary. For example, more than 30% of the places of the Supreme Court could not be replaced. So there was a huge justice crisis in Spain because this designation was fully pertaining to the Congress and the Senate. So in Portugal, we decided another approach. Bearing in mind that indeed this principle of the people and the courts administered justice in the name of the people should have a say. So what we decided, let's split half and half. So half of the members of the Judicial Council are designated by the parliament. The other half are elected between the judges. So we normally have actual elections, so we have lists of judges that want to be part of the Judiciary Council, and the other colleagues will vote. After this, they will have a mandate of 4 years. The other half is designated by the parliament, and the mandates are independent. For example, if the parliament goes down, the new parliament has to elect new judicial council members. And in this way, the judicial council never blocks, so it keeps on functioning. Still, I have to say that the Council of Europe and the Venice Commission, which is a body in the Council of Europe that studies the constitutional issues, is recommending that member states should opt for fully self-government bodies, meaning that High Judicial Council should be designated only by judges, so no political intervention. We have some kind of a criticism because we do have this half and half system, and 3 of our members are even designated by the President of the Republic. So now just to briefly finish with what is their roles. This is very important of this High Judicial Council. I would say management and appointment of judges. Also, they do not enter into the Constitutional Court appointments, is the same. So the High Judicial Council appoints all judges with the exception of the Constitutional Court. Is exactly the same system because these are designated only by the Parliament. Then the High Judicial Council in Portugal makes periodic evaluations of judges. This is very delicate because we do not enter in the contents of the judicial decisions. The High Judicial Council cannot order or orientate or supervise how a judge decides. All of this is discussed in appeals, not by the Judicial Council. But the Judicial Council, for example, controls whether a judge is deciding or not, whether he or she is working or not, situations of corruption, disciplinary measures, whether the judges are being correct to the parties, to the lawyers, to all the members of the courts. Also, they receive complaints from the citizens, and citizens in Portugal complain a lot, I have to say. So the members of the High Judicial Council receive lots of complaints regarding non-partiality and so on, and they have to filter because there are many people that are not happy with the decisions and they decide to complain. So this is, but it's a way to control, of course, whether impartiality is being respected. Also, disciplinary actions is all completely in the hands of the High Judiciary Council. Again, there cannot ever be a disciplinary action because of the merits of a particular decision. The merits are only decided on appeals to the high courts, not to the Judicial Council. So they just evaluate and they just proceed to disciplinary measures when a judge is being corrupt, when a judge has not been working, and not whether the judge has decided well or not. So this is not up for the High Judicial Court to analyze. Well, just to finish, in Portugal, the Judicial Council, this is very important, has full financial autonomy, its own budget. So we decided to create this balanced system as opposed to Spain, where the Judicial Council is full enshrined, embedded on the idea of the justice being governed by the people. This is a very good idea, but has been leading to some blockings on the designation of the magistrates in the history. So, if you want to know some more examples of European systems, I would advise you to go to this webpage. This is a webpage of the European Network of Councils for the Judiciary, where you can find fact sheets of how all the European states that have judicial councils, how do they work, what are their powers, and how are they formed. Thank you very much.